So people of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've got an official new trailer for Thor Love and Thunder. It released kinda late my time last night, so this is why I'm getting to this now. Today we're gonna get straight into the breakdown, spot some Easter eggs with such as, Death, the Living Tribunal, and a little freaking statue room, and all little goodies like that. We got our first look at Christian Bale's Gorr the God Butcher, and a little bit more than that. Well, we kinda got a little bit of a look at him some time ago, but now properly in motion. I'm gonna shut up. Let me know your thoughts about this trailer down in the comments below, and let's just, kind of get straight into the breakdown details now. So, I really liked how this trailer picked up with just Korg, Korg, mate. If anyone watches the Big Les show, you'll know that he sounds just like Sassy the Sasquatch. But yeah, Korg, he starts off the trailer by telling a bunch of kids the story of Thor. The space Viking, that is. And actually, I tell a lie, the first shot was Thor meditating, if you will, once again, with that massive tree. And actually, you can see that in the background. So this is the same location. I'm thinking that given the next shot of this trailer shows Thor and the Guardians on the same planet, later on in this trailer, we get various different shots of Drax and Nebula just going crazy. But back on point, this moment with Korg telling the kids about Thor, the space Viking, could be after the Guardians and Thor helped save their people. And then I assume he goes off to meditate, and this would be, I assume, when the Guardians of the Galaxy leave, as seen in the first trailer. We get that shot of where they flew away, leaving Thor and Korg behind on the planet. So he likely chooses to stay behind, as we saw in the first trailer, and that's when he seeks out that sense of new adventure for himself. And after all, despite a lot of different things going on in this movie, that one of the primary themes, at least they heavily have got on in the first trailer and doubled down on in this trailer with Korg's commentary, it just shows Thor is getting back to himself, especially after Endgame. So after a little bit of introspection, we see him getting on the road to getting back to himself as Korg is commentating. We see him getting back into shape. No longer a dad bod, but a god bod. Korg continues to say that he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor, except pops up Natalie Portman's Jane's Thor, if you will, in a brief struggle over pulling the piece back together Mjolnir from Thor back to herself as it is now hers. And this just kind of reminds me of when Kylo and Rey were fighting over Anakin's lightsaber. Now in this trailer as well, we know that Thor as well as Jane will be using this ship to get around and sail across the freaking galaxy, so to speak, but in this part we see it approaching New Asgard, so I'm thinking perhaps this battle we see where Jane Foster's Thor pulls back Mjolnir, it looks like perhaps New Asgard is under attack with the location and the houses looking like that of where the Asgardians settled down on Earth. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like a battle could be going on here. Now one thing I'm pretty intrigued about when it comes to Jane's Thor, and they're very clear sparks of romance rekindling, perhaps, well, I mean, I think they made that fairly clear with what you're seeing on the screen between Jane and Thor. If they're going to include the aspect of her character struggling with cancer whilst being Thor. Because after all, adaptations aren't copy and paste like I always say, but then again, they could reflect the source material there and bring that into this. It could be one of those somewhat really tragic parts of the movie and where perhaps Thor is very happy that Jane was worthy. She's kicking ass, and then at some part in the movie, they only reveal that she is perhaps dying. And with the fact that maybe the more she uses Mjolnir and her new Thor powers, the more the cancer is aggressive, perhaps. But at the same time, would she really die? Are they really going to pull that move? Or would that aspect of the character not even be adapted and something else happens to Natalie Portman in the MCU for her to carry on from here on out, such as her being a really prominent figure within New Asgard still? Now, in this very moment as well, we do get to see Thor with his new helmet on. And really, it completes the armor set here as it goes hand in hand. Beforehand, we haven't really seen him with it on in the first trailer. We got to see his new armor, but not it completed with the helmet. Now, the trailer kind of cut it strange as we see him without the helmet when he's kind of pulling the hammer, and then when he reacts, he's got it on and he's like, Jane? So I'm sure that's just, still gonna be fluid. It's just the way the trailer cut it makes it seem a little bit disjointed there. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this shot here with Chris Hemsworth here with the helmet on like Jane, it really is kind of transparent that he's standing in front of a green screen background with that little battle going on behind him. And not only that, I do feel like the helmet could have looked a bit better. Now, that's not to say, honestly, I like the armor. I really like the armor. I do feel like it gives off quite saturated vibes, but I'm not gonna lie, I do love the gold trimming on it. But however, the helmet itself in this shot, I will say, first and foremost, to be a bit positive, I do love the side shot of it here. It is comic accurate, but I do just feel like they could have done a better job making it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing rather than how cumbersome it comes across on his face. Like, it's just, it feels like it could be a bit more compact. Not so elegant as the one that Natalie Portman is wearing, but something about it comes across a little bit too heavy duty, that I feel like it could have still come across heavy duty in a way that Thor's helmet should, but without being so, like, I don't know, like a freaking block on his face. As far as what we see from Jane and her Thor in the trailer, I was quite happy with it. Not only do I think Natalie Portman, she does look really, really badass in this role, but we get to see some badass action here, such as where she can let out, like, all the fragments of Mjolnir, because obviously, you know, Mjolnir was destroyed by Hela, and somehow it's been put back together, sellotaped together or something, but one of her abilities, as we see in the trailer here, is that she can kind of fracture it all over again so that all the fragments go out as if they're like hundreds of arrowheads. Can you imagine, like, the power of Mjolnir, like, divided into God knows how many pieces, just scattering out, and then reassembling back into the hammer? That is a badass move, one that I just wouldn't have really thought about when just seeing Mjolnir. I thought, okay, it's been put back together, but I didn't expect to see that action shot, and that was really entertaining. We also see Jane riding a Pegasus, which is awesome, and I have a feeling perhaps this is a moment where Jane comes in, combined with this other shot right at the end of the trailer where she's summoning the lightning, and it looks as though this could be like one of those final moments in the movie. Not necessarily the final moment or the final battle, because I think that is one of the other parts in the trailer that we see, but the most interesting and intriguing part of this scene is that we see these various statues of cosmic entities in the background. Some really, really huge characters. So this place has got to be quite the place of significance and importance to kind of just like the universe and existence in of itself, considering the Easter eggs that are within this room. Such as on screen right now, you're looking at the living Tribunal. We did have an Easter egg of him as well, not only in Loki, but as Doctor Strange was traveling through different universes with America Chavez, we got to see a very brief glimpse of the Living Tribunal there as well, but once again, here, but the other statues are very interesting, because here we can also see the Watcher from Marvel's What If, so that's pretty insane, and also, this appears to be Death. I think that one's kind of obvious, and we also see Eon, and lastly, Infinity. Now, that's not to say that all of these people are just gonna pop up. It's mostly just Easter eggs at these larger, behind-the-curtain characters of insane power, of whom maybe we could get more hints at one day to a larger appearance, such as maybe the Living Tribunal stands more of a chance there, because we've seen that character pop up more and more with these Easter eggs. But yeah, it's just pretty insane to see a whole room of statues of all of these crazy-ass cosmic entities in one room. So that was an awesome little feature in this official trailer. This is where we get our first proper look. I mean, I know they were like little toy leaks or whatever, but this is where we get our first proper look in motion of Christian Bale's Gorr the God Butcher, in where he says, "The only ones who gods care about is themselves. So this is my vow, all gods will die." Now, if it isn't already evident, you know, we have Christian Bale's Gorr going about trying to kill every single god he pretty much freaking can. Ideally, every god. I don't know if they're going to try and do a god bomb in this iteration or anything like that. But a good example of this is one of the dead gods that we saw in the first teaser trailer. And that is what was also brought back in this official trailer with Thor looking upon the dead god Falagar, of whom was an old friend of Thor's. Now, it could be possible that the part in the trailer where we see Zeus, maybe Thor is trying to not only warn him, but maybe enlist his help in like, yeah, by the way, there's a dude going around killing gods, and maybe Zeus, in all of his kind of ego, will just not be like, yeah, I'm not worried about that, man. I'm a god. Like, there's other gods. You really think someone's going to go around? And he's like, trust me, it's happening. I trust that'll lead to a bit of comedy, but it also leads me to ask, is Zeus going to go F in the chat? You know, is he going to die? Are they going to kill Russell Crowe's Zeus? I do want to point out as well that Valkyrie seems to be fighting Gorr with Zeus's bolt, so unless he lent that to her to fight Gorr, yeah, and he's still alive, just she could have taken it because he's dead. you know. Now, with regards to Thalagar, again, appearing dead in this trailer, of whom was likely killed with Gorr's Necro Sword, that I believe we got a little first look at here in this trailer, unless you count that toy leak. He'll be going around slaying people with that. And I know, in terms of appearance, this is what I've got to say about it, that people are saying that comparing Christian Bale's look here in these trailers to that of the comic counterpart is quite a downgrade, and the reason and what people back that up with is that when you see Josh Brolin's Thanos, obviously he had the CGI dots in him, like the cameras, they CGI'd him into a larger being, you know, of Thanos. So you could argue they could have done that with Gorr the God Butcher with Christian Bale, making him more of that taller, kind of Voldemort-looking Gorr the God Butcher. So I get the argument there, I really do. But what I will say is that I still feel like they did a pretty good job at kind of depicting how creepy he is in this trailer, such as the shots that you're seeing on screen right now. I just feel like they depicted that pretty well. But I totally get both sides of the story here. But speaking of final battles that we were talking about just a few moments ago, it's likely that it will be in this kind of black and white voidy space in where we see multiple characters facing up against Gorr, such as Thor. It looks as though Jane and Thor will be going there themselves, along with Valkyrie, which I have to beg the question, will this be the film where Valkyrie dies? I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, will anyone die? Because I've said Jane, Valkyrie, Zeus, who knows? But we do see some combat there. Will we get one of those resolutions in where maybe Thor is about to be crushed, because we did hear Christian Bale's Gorr say, you're not like other gods that I've killed, and then we have freaking Lady Thor basically come in, saving the day, potentially. Or they might, as both Thors, you know, send out their own respective lightning, as what you're seeing on screen right now. It could be like a combined effort. We're gonna have to wait and see there. And lastly, with regards to Zeus and Russell Crowe Zeus, we get to see some various shots at Olympia in the trailer. And in that first trailer, we only got a brief side angle of Russell Crowe Zeus. But here, we get a proper good look, and we're after some battle. We see that Zeus flicks too hard, which removes all of Thor's disguise, and he is naked. A bit of a comedic moment there, and all the ladies faint, and it looks like Chris Hemsworth is very, very ripped, but that is just needless to say. Chris Hemsworth is always ripped. But no, yeah, as far as Zeus, I feel like they're going to make him a bit of a meme character. But I will say that Russell Crowe does look like that older Zeus, you know, who's just kind of just chilling Olympia now and just hosting games. It's like, oh yes, look at me, I'm Zeus kind of thing. I wonder if he would be kind of ignorant to Thor and his warnings potentially of Gorr and end up biting the dust. That's going to be super interesting to see. But I think that's more or less everything I wanted to touch on in the trailer. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Overall, my conclusion is this does look like a fun movie. The thing I like about the, you know, Thor Ragnarok and what they're doing here is that Taika seems to be just embracing the comedy. It doesn't really take itself so seriously. My favorite things are when they blend comedy with some dramatic elements, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that Thor, you know, is going to get into like such in-depth, you know, emotional storylines, but it will touch on those feelsy moments, for sure. But it also won't take itself so seriously with just all the hilarious moments we're going to get. And that's where I feel like the MCU does best, when it knows what it wants to be in terms of identity. Because I feel like other MCU movies sometimes try and, you know, tackle their tone and shift it several times throughout the movie, inject humor, serious moment. But Thor, the Thor movies, as of at least these two, just really own it, and that's why I tend to have a blast with them. So I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to seeing what's coming. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Any theories as well with regards to, you know, some of those larger cosmic entity Easter eggs and any death predictions. I would love to read those. But as always, guys, like the video if you did enjoy it. Do subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Marvel videos like this and coverage on other comic book things. But I think that's everything, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see people of the MCU in the next video. Goodbye.